Hello, once again, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the online pregnancy school. We have been talking about children now, and today we are going to continue on a very, very, very important topic which everyone needs to know about. And I'm glad I have my own colleague who will be discussing this very important topic with us. If today is the first day you are joining us, this is the online pregnancy school, and my name is Dr. Linda Van Mutu. I talk about family health so that the family would be well informed to live healthy, happy, and fulfilled lives. And it's important that the children grow in a way that they can maximize the potentials that they have. So if you haven't done that yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, and also share with friends and family. If you have any questions or any comments, just share them with us in the chat, and we'll be happy to answer them as we go along. Today, I'm going to talk about HIV in children, a very important topic. We know about HIV. I'm sure a lot of people think about HIV in adults, and they have their own understanding of what happens. But I'm happy that I have my colleague and brother to discuss this, Dr. Ayisi Ado. He will introduce himself briefly to us, and then we'll start the discussion on HIV in children. Doc, you are most welcome.
Thank you very much, Dr. Babotu.
How are you doing?
And I'm fine, thank you. And I want to say a big hello to your audience out there, and to commend you for the great work you are doing in the area of women's health and children's health, reproductive health.
Thank you.
So my name is Stephen Ayisi Ado, and I'm a public health specialist, medical doctor, and I work with the Ghana Health Service as the program manager for the National AIDS and STI Control Program, which is the agency, the Ministry of Health, responsible for leading the implementation of interventions to prevent and control HIV in Ghana. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor. So, Dr. Ayisi, you are most welcome. You are the right person to have this discussion with. Now, let me start by asking, HIV in children, is it a major public health concern? Do we have a lot of children living with HIV, and are the figures going up, or they are stable or going down?
Thank you. Yes, it's a major problem because in Ghana, we estimate that there are 350,000 persons living with HIV in Ghana, and 7% of them are children.
Wow.
7% of them are children. If you do the calculation, this translates into some thousands. Now, of the new infections that occurred, for instance, last year, approximately 19,000. 19% of these new infections were also in children. And when we talk about children in HIV context, it is all people less than 15 years. 15 years.
Okay.
Now, of the deaths we recorded around 13,000 deaths.
Oh.
And in 2020, a little less in 2021. 23% of that were in children.
Wow.
Now, so if you take a condition, that kills children, any other condition, HIV is one of them. And therefore we need to pay attention, to that. So the new infections translate to about 3,700 new infections annually.
Wow.
And it's very important. And when it comes to the deaths, about almost 3,000 deaths, 2,900 a little over that. That's estimated deaths in children annually. You know, most of when it comes to HIV, for adults, when you are exposed and you get the virus, you will develop AIDS, that is the end stage disease, after 15 years maximum, an average of 7.5 years. That is an average. But in children, you develop it within 5 years, an average of 2.5 years, which means that because of the reduced immunity in children compared to adults, they will develop AIDS and die faster when they contract HIV. Most children who contract HIV get it from their mothers. So there is mother-to-child transmission, because when you look at the methods that are responsible for HIV transmission in Ghana, it is mainly heterosexual.
What does that mean?
It means that it's unprotected sex between a male and a female adult. When you take children, the age I mentioned, less than 15, most of them don't have sex.
Yeah.
The other method is through infected blood transfusion, and then also infected sharps. That is very small. In fact, heterosexual method is 85%. Sharps and all those things are just less than about like 15%, about 5%.
Please, what are sharps?
Let's say sharp objects like blades, or maybe through tattooing, through female genital, through, let's say, even circumcision, of contaminated sharp objects, all that. All right. But mother-to-child transmission is about 15%. So mothers, if you take all the methods that children can get HIV, the highest is from mother to child. So a mother who is HIV positive is likely to give it the baby, and the baby can get HIV when the baby is in the womb of the mother, during labor and delivery, and during breastfeeding. I have to establish that HIV can never be given, is not transmitted genetically. So it's not automatic that if a mother has HIV, automatically the child will have. But most of the time, it is through the main methods I talked about: vertically, when the baby is in the womb, during labor and delivery, and then during breastfeeding.
Doc,
so the statistics.
Please, just a moment. If you say when the baby is inside the mother's womb and vertical, how does that happen?
Okay, so when the baby is in the mother's womb, the baby actually is attached to the mother through the placenta. All right, and within the womb of the mother, there's a fluid around it. There's exchange of oxygen and nutrients through this placenta. So some elements pass through this, but under some circumstances, when there's a breach in this intact connection, or when there is any problem that leads to a direct, exchange of blood between the mother and the baby. If the mother is HIV positive, then automatically HIV blood goes into the baby and the baby will get infected. And this happens when, for instance, the mother is down, pregnant woman with some diseases. Malaria, in which it leads to intense parasitemia, can lead to in the placenta, integrity. And if there is any infection, that leads to a detachment. Or if there is any process when the baby was in the womb of the mother, the pregnant woman, and there is any surgical process which leads to a mixing of the blood, that can lead to infection of the baby. That is the first method. The second one is during labor and delivery. So during the period of labor, there is a lot that happens, forcing the baby coming out of the mother's womb when there's rupture of the placenta of the sac, and the amniotic sac, and the fluid comes out. There is sometimes bruises in the woman's birth canal. Once the baby comes out, sometimes the baby can even swallow some of that. When there's a difficulty of the baby coming, sometimes the woman has to be given an episiotomy. In other words, cut a little so that the baby will. All these processes can lead to that. When there is the cutting of the amniotic fluid, after the baby has come out, you need to cut the amniotic fluid, the cord. If you don't, you need to cut the cord. If you don't cut the cord well, there is a particular way you need to do it quickly so that there will not be a return of the blood. All that are processes through which the baby can get it. And then after that, when everything is done, the baby can also get it through the breast milk.
Yeah, that's a very important place, Doc. Yeah, because we wanted to also understand, ladies and gentlemen, it means that it is not just a simple thing that a woman has HIV, she becomes pregnant, and that is it. And that is why we are talking about HIV in babies today. So having heard all these things, I believe that we need to be careful. So Doc, now you're going on to the breast milk. And I think that is a very important point, because we actually want babies to breastfeed because of all the benefits. But is that a challenge for a woman who has HIV to breastfeed her baby?
It's a challenge. It can be a challenge. In fact, because of that, we have to come out with guidelines. In fact, up to mother-to-child transmission through breastfeeding can occur in a baby. And because of that, the most ideal way or decision will be for a mother not to breastfeed her baby if she is HIV positive. However, this is not always feasible, because it means that you need to have an alternative breast or alternative feeding opportunity for this baby. And the most obvious is the formula feed. If a person opts for formula feed, a person needs, for the period of 3 to 6 months, not less than 66 cans. The person needs clean water to be able to feed the baby exclusively, not using the breast milk. Now, you need to put this in context of the socio-economic circumstance of all women in our country, and then compare it with the benefit of the baby taking breast milk, which has also natural elements and has immune properties and has advantages. So when we put the two together and we took into consideration issues of affordability, issues of, feasibility, issues of sustainability, issues of safety, because you are not looking at people living in an urban area who have access to water, clean water. There are people who are living in the culture, in the rural setting, they may not have clean water. And if you give someone the opportunity to use formula, the person has to mix it with clean water. If it's not clean, that itself can cause infection, which is worse, for this baby. So when we put all together, the WHO recommends that a baby who is born to an HIV positive mother must still breastfeed. Yeah. The reason why it's still better compared to formula feed is, if a woman cannot afford, what they will do is that they may start trying, and then somewhere along the line, they go back to the breast milk. At which point now they are doing mixed feeding, and it's more dangerous, because when you mix feed and the baby has an infection, then it's easy for the intestines to be prone to HIV transmission, through the breastfeeding. So that is not encouraged. The other thing is that when we factor in the benefits of breast milk, it's better for the baby to breastfeed. The good thing also is that the introduction of antiretroviral medication there's viral suppression, so the viral load is reduced significantly, and therefore
That's in
the
the
risk
mother,
of
right? In the
in the
mother.
mother,
If she's
in the mother.
Doc, is it? Are we not talking about the prevention, or we are talking about how we can reduce?
Yeah, prevention. But
yeah.
Yes, I'm trying to explain to you the difficulties. Okay, so
Okay.
I'm just saying that because of the other difficulties, we give this so that when
Sure.
the baby is, the risk of transmission is reduced.
Okay.
The other challenge is the cultural issue. Is it acceptable? If you tell a mother to breastfeed, to give formula feed, when the mother's breast is engorged in a cultural setting like Ghana, where everybody who is born must be given breast milk, people will be questioning. The issue of stigma is very high. So people will be wondering why this mother is not giving the breast milk.
Yeah.
That alone excludes the mother. So there are stigmatization risks and challenges that you want to also overcome. So you then have to let the mother breastfeed. So apart from the water issues, access to water, access to healthcare delivery, which is not available everywhere in case there's a problem, apart from the cost of providing this NAN1 or any of these replacement, substrates, the cost of sustaining this feeding.
Yeah.
There are issues of cultural acceptance and acceptability, and issues of stigma and all that, discrimination. And that is why it is not so easy to give an alternative to breast milk. So there are challenges.
That is a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have just joined us today, I'm talking to Dr. Isiadu, the National Program Manager. He's in charge of HIV and sexually transmitted infections in Ghana, and they are doing so much. We are looking at HIV in children specifically, and he has told us how the babies can get infected and the challenges that can go with this baby being born and not being breastfed. Although, as he has told us, if you can do that, then there's a way that you have to do it. You don't have to mix feed, because there are so many challenges related to not breastfeeding, with all that he has explained to us. So I hope that you are learning a lot. So doctor, with all this, is there a way of preventing these babies from getting infected?
There's a way of preventing this baby from getting infected, because the challenges even go beyond what I've mentioned. Compared to an adult, when a child contracts HIV, the child progresses faster to AIDS and the child can die faster. Secondly, putting a child on treatment for life, it's more difficult because it's from birth.
Yeah.
And sustaining adherence is very, very difficult for this child. The third thing is that even how to disclose to this child that you are HIV positive is a problem. The children will not understand. And by the time they are maturing, a child is going to school. It's not easy. You find a child, you go and tell a child you are HIV. The child will go and tell their friends at school innocently.
Yeah.
And then as they are aging, they have a problem. They're going to school, they become adolescents. And even how to take the medication, because you need to take a medication at some specific. So all these are challenges. But by the grace of God, we have put in place measures to prevent this occurrence. So the first thing that we have 4 main strategies. You see, for a mother to give HIV to the baby, 2 conditions must exist. The mother must be pregnant and must be HIV positive.
Sure.
So our first strategy is to make sure that all women in reproductive age group, that is every woman who has the potential to give birth, is free of HIV.
Okay.
So that when they get pregnant, there will be a 0 opportunity to transmit to. So we do primary prevention, general education, so that as many women as possible will be negative so that when they get pregnant, give it. Is that no matter what we do, there will be women who will be positive. So the other factor must be managed. So we provide family planning services to prevent unintended pregnancy, so that if they are not ready to be pregnant, they don't get pregnant, and then they don't have to look their baby. That's the next thing. The third thing is that no matter what you do, some will be pregnant, they will be positive. Then that is where we need to pick them early during antenatal care. So we offer testing to all women attending antenatal as early as the first time they come into the health facility. Then when we pick them as positive, HIV positive, we put them immediately on treatment. And this antiretroviral therapy serves as a preventive therapy for the baby.
Okay.
So if the mother is taking it well, then the mother will not likely transmit to the baby because the virus will be suppressed in the mother. So during the period of pregnancy, during the labor and delivery, and during the breastfeeding period, the viral load will be so low that the risk of transmission is low. In addition to this, when the baby is born, immediately within a few hours to days, we put the baby also on medication. And we refer to that as prophylaxis. And this prophylaxis is also to help further reduce the risk of transmission to the baby, because the baby will be breastfeeding. And we are aware also that the mother can also pass on some antibodies to the baby and on. So the whole idea is to double prevent a potential transmission to the baby.
That is very important.
We do that, yes, so that both the mother and the baby are taking something to more like sterilize the breast milk so that the baby can feed freely.
Wow.
Now, whilst we are doing this, we are still monitoring this baby because we want to be sure quickly that the baby has not gotten it from the mother. So we do what we call early infant diagnosis. We offer a test to check whether the baby has the infection. And this we do within 6 weeks. In fact, within a few days to 6 weeks, to make sure that this baby is free from HIV. And then when the baby has breastfed throughout the period, we repeat this test again later. Now, when we do this, we've noticed that so far in our database, in 2020 or so, there was a 7% rate of transmission from the mother to child at 6 weeks, even with all these interventions.
Wow.
And then it almost doubles at 18 months. We are now investigating why it is happening, because if a mother came to the clinic and was put through all this process, we shouldn't get any case of mother to child transmission. But as it is, it happens. And most of the cases, when we go and check, we've realized what is causing that. And what is causing that is very, very, very simple. A lot of the mothers who are giving it to their babies are giving it because the babies were not, the mothers didn't get full PMTCT service.
Wow, Doc, before we continue, it means that if you are a mother or a woman and you are pregnant and you do not go for the antenatal, or when you go, you are asked to do the test for HIV and you refuse, you are really harming the unborn baby. Because if you do the test and they find that you are positive, there's a lot that can be done for you to prevent the spread from you to the baby. And if you're also not delivering in a health facility, it means when you deliver, they may not know, and therefore they will not start this baby on the treatment. So it is very important that as pregnant women or women who are looking forward to becoming pregnant, you take your antenatal seriously. Go to the antenatal as soon as you find you are pregnant. It is very important. Ladies and
You are
gentlemen,
very,
this is the online
very
pregnancy
right.
school. And today we are talking about HIV in the baby. So much has been said. And we would want you to take note and adhere to some of the things that Dr. Isiadu is telling us. So, Doc, at home, what should they be doing? If they take this baby home, okay, the breastfeeding, we know. What else should they be doing at home so that this baby would live a good life?
Yeah, so you made a statement I have to emphasize that it's a big disservice to the baby, but also to the mother and the whole family. If you allow a baby to get HIV in this day and age, we have all those things. So they must take their antenatal seriously. There is counseling for these pregnant women as to what to do, in addition to the breastfeeding guidelines that they are offered. The way they ought to position the babies during the breastfeeding is important, so that there will not be easy cracks at the nipple.
That's important.
Because transmission can also occur if there are cracks at the nipple and there's blood flowing to the baby's tummy. So those are some of the things. We also, as I said earlier, discourage mixed feeding completely. And we encourage the mother to also come for regular postnatal visits so that we monitor both mother and baby to make sure that they are taking their medications. And then we also conduct the tests to monitor them. We also make sure that you see, one of the importance of postnatal care is that when they come for the other immunization shots, all that helps build the immunity of the baby. So it's very important that they come and get all the supplements, they get all the things they need to still build a child who is growing, and to help us monitor and detect anything that we consider to be odd, because a baby's risk of getting HIV and it affecting his or her developmental milestone is very high. So the monitoring helps us to detect all of this very well and early, so that we can prevent any arrested growth in this child.
Wow.
So these are some of the measures. So monitoring after delivery is key. Postnatal care is very, very essential for this mother and baby. So we call the mother-baby pair. And these are the mechanisms that we use to. And then the other issue is that you need to also provide a supportive environment for this mother. And that's, so it doesn't end with the mother. We encourage the spouses to provide very important support, and the rest of the family to support this mother and baby so that they can continue to thrive. You know, fortunately these days, because of treatment, antiretroviral therapy, mothers are not dying and leaving their babies. When that happens, then you need a secondary caregiver.
That's very important.
Taking care of the baby, and that is very, very, very difficult. All right. So by the grace of God, we do not have a lot of orphans now, and therefore we have the caregivers there. But even that, still there are challenges. All right. So it's very, very essential that these mothers and babies will continue to come to the clinic. The other thing we are doing is that we have provided what we call mentor mothers. These are HIV positive mothers who are stable on treatment. They've gone through the experience and they can attest to the benefit. So they become examples for the new mothers who are positive, to encourage them so that they come to the clinic, to guide them what to do, to be able to explain to them the side effects of some of the medications and all of that. All those things help so that they can adhere to their medication and they will be supported. Some of them, psychologically, they need support and emotional support.
Yes.
In the past, people thought that once I give birth to a baby and I'm positive, the baby is automatically positive. So I'll go and dump the baby somewhere, abandoned. But today, it is not like that. And I'm happy to announce or to inform you that because of the service more babies are becoming negative.
Good.
The majority of babies who are born to positive mothers are becoming negative. They are
Wow.
HIV negative. So because of that, we find now pregnant positive mothers coming to deliver the 7th time. Can you imagine? They get
Wow.
because their fertility expectations are good, are high, because now
7.
they know they will get a negative baby.
Wow.
But we are also realizing that those who are coming to give birth, multiparous people, that's mothers who are coming for multiple pregnancies, their HIV prevalence is higher compared to those who are coming once or twice because of unprotected sex and the risk of exposure.
Wow, no, thank you very much. It means that this is a very important thing that we are discussing. Ladies and gentlemen, we have said so much about HIV in the baby, and I hope you have learned a lot. Please, it is preventable. You see, that is one thing that we want people to understand. If there is something that is preventable, please do not go into it, because if you get it, the challenges that you will face are far more than if you were just to accept what is being given and then you try to prevent yourself from getting into that. Doctor has given us a lot of information. HIV in children is real, and he's the best person to tell us what it is all about. So, Doc, your comment, what should they know? What you want to leave with them that would help us not to be getting babies with HIV? And even if we do, what they can do to help these babies grow well.
In conclusion, I wish to state that I have good news for you. HIV is real, but by the grace of God, we have put in interventions to reduce HIV transmission. The mother-to-child transmission has decreased. In fact, I said 7.3 in 2020. The last count 2021, it was less than that, 2.6. So it means that the interventions are working. It will only work in you if you accept the service. First thing is that every woman who is a reproductive age group, stay negative, so that when you give birth, you don't give it to your baby when you get pregnant. You can stay negative by sticking to the prevention strategies, abstinence where necessary, being faithful, using condoms where you need to. The second thing is that when you get pregnant, when you go to the hospital, demand an HIV test.
Good.
Through that, you will know your status and will put you on treatment. When you are put on treatment, adhere to your treatment and follow the instructions and counseling. Nobody should die from HIV again today because there's treatment. And a lot of mothers are giving birth to HIV negative babies, even though they are positive.
Yeah. And
these children are growing very well and lovely. So protect lives. Maintain your support for the person living with HIV. If you're HIV positive, it's not the end of life. Continue to adhere to your medication. I call on all of us to support the mother and baby pair, the mother who is positive, and all other persons living with HIV. Let's avoid stigma and discrimination. Let's encourage them to continue to grow and to be on their medication, so that very soon Ghana will be a Ghana free of AIDS and HIV. Wow. And we'll have a generation of people who are HIV negative. I thank you very much.
Wow. We couldn't have said it in a better way. You see, I like that Ghana should be a country free of HIV. It is possible that we'll have women who will get pregnant and will not have HIV, or women who have HIV whilst they are pregnant but will not transmit it to their children, or children who are born with HIV but they would be put on treatment. Doctor has told us so much. So ladies and gentlemen, please listen to what he has said. Share this video as widely as you can, because see, as the child grows, he said it, when this child gets into school and this child is talking to his or her friends about the HIV, that I'm HIV positive, the friends will run away from him or her. Your child will come home unhappy and would not be able to concentrate because nobody would want to play with this child. So let us try and prevent HIV spreading from one person to the other. And if you're an adult man and you also know that you have HIV, please contact the health sector. They are willing. Dr. Isiado is always willing. You see the passion with which he's talking about HIV. He's always willing because he has seen so much, and it is sad to know that in this day and age, people are still contracting a disease that is preventable. Doc, we thank you so much for your time. Thank you for all that you are doing to help to reduce HIV infections in Ghana. We pray that the Lord will help us all as we go through all the work that we are doing to help people to live healthy, happy, and fulfilled lives. And as I always say, pregnancy should be a time of joy and not anxiety or fear. You will only be anxious and be afraid if you contract HIV and then you keep it to yourself. When you go to the hospital, he says that demand for an HIV test, not because of the health sector, but because of you, your child, and the family at large. See you in our next video. Bye for now. Thank you.